PodcastOne presents the Steve Austin Show Classics.
All right, everybody, welcome to the Steve Austin Show. I am coming to you from the Broken Skull Ranch down here in South Texas by way of the little town called Tilden, Texas, off Highway 16. Yes, sir, that's it. It's hotter than a motherfucker right here. I'm slugging away. It is early in the morning. I have tried to record this show, this interview with my guest today, and it has been a sumbitch to try to get it accomplished. But I am under the gun today. I have pushed the record button. I will not push the stop button until this show is completed, delivering the can of audio whoop-ass that it has to be. That's right. The one-man clusterfuck is alive, up, ready to rock and roll. I've had coffee, had my Alpha Brain. I got some sparkling water on standby. This is going to be a bust-ass show because I got a bust-ass guest. I've had a lot of great guests on this show. Love and respect all of them, but today we take it to a whole different level because today, sitting right here in front of me, I have six-time WWE heavyweight champion, WWE Hall of Famer, Stone Cold Steve Austin, sitting right here live and in living audio, in living color for me. Hopefully this sumbitch is in a good mood. I've tried to interview this man about 5 or 6 times already, and he has been in a surly mood. But what I'm hoping right now is that since he just woke up, I get him in a little bit more docile mood. Yesterday I tried to record this show. Several Donnybrooks almost busted out. I thought it was going to be a Pier 6 brawl, ending with one of us wearing, brother, a crimson mask. Nonetheless, I've got the one and only Stone Cold Steve Austin sitting here. And the thing about it is, good old Stone Cold is over there sipping on a cup of coffee rather than a can of beer. And when he's drinking coffee and is trying to wake up, that's a good opportunity for yours truly to interview him. Because he starts getting on that beer, he turns into a different animal. Nonetheless, I think he's in a good mood. But while I'm sitting here prepping for him, getting ready, I sent out a tweet. I sent out a tweet on my Twitter account, Steve Austin BSR. You can follow me at Steve Austin BSR. And I said to you guys that I was going to be interviewing the man himself, Stone Cold. If you had any questions, send your questions to questions@steveaustinshow.com. And I got a shit pile of them. I'm going to sort through some of them, get him to answer a couple of them, and you're talking to the man himself. So hopefully he treats you with a little bit of respect and kindness. If he hurts anybody's feelings, well, it's just the way it is. Stone Cold is Stone Cold, and that's the bottom line as he would say it. But nonetheless, without any further ado, let's talk about a little bit of business first. I got Redneck Island coming up every Saturday night on CMT. Saturdays at 8 p.m. Central, 9 p.m. Eastern. Redneck Island, the show I host. We'll shoot that thing out in Mexico. Got a bunch of fine rednecks out there competing for $100,000. Don't forget to check it out. And to you city slickers, in the sound of my voice, if you can hear this, you ain't got to be a redneck to enjoy Redneck Island. It's just a good, clean family show that anybody can enjoy. I have heard that it is life-changing television. I have heard that it has inspired millions and millions and millions of people across the world to change their lives and make themselves a better human being. That's the kind of show that Redneck Island is. I'm proud to be attached to it. I'm proud to host it. Hell, I can't give Redneck Island a better plug than I've just given it. Saturdays, 8 p.m. Central, 9 p.m. Eastern on CMT. Because ain't nobody else plugging the son of a bitch. I ain't seen a commercial one on the goddamn TV. Is there something wrong? Somewhere we have a failure to communicate. I don't know what the hell's going on. Hell, I'm a one-man clusterfuck over here plugging this motherfucker. Hey, you can check out my website, BrokenSkullRanch.com. I'm going to have some stuff coming out here pretty quick. On the way of the BrokenSkullRanch.com, you can go on there, check out, finally, the Broken Skull Ranch scope that I worked with Miopta Optics to create is ready and available. You can go to bsrscope.com. You can go to mioptaoptics.com. You can go to BrokenSkullRanch.com. Click on that button. It'll take you where you need to go. If you can find a better scope with better optics for the money than the scope we've created, you better buy that motherfucker, because I'm telling you, hands down, you cannot beat the optics on this scope. If you could beat it, I would have jumped on board with someone else and built it with someone else. A scope of this quality with the Broken Skull signature on there, the skull, my signature. It's a motherfucker of a package. You want to hunt anything in the world, this scope will do it for you, and you'll do it in style. You'll do it with toughness. You'll do it with very sharp, high-grade optics. If I'm lying, I'm dying. This is a bad motherfucking scope. Check it out for yourself. Anyway, enough with that. Let's talk a little bit about some of my sponsors. And the first one I want to talk about is Amazon, because Amazon.com helps support the Steve Austin Show. I need all the support I can get. I'm looking for you to help me support it. And if you guys are looking to buy something online and you want to support the show, all you got to do is go to PodcastOne.com, go to the Steve Austin Show page, and click on the Amazon banner. That's going to take you to the same Amazon place you normally go, but it kicks back a small percentage of the sale to help support this show. It helps to support the show in the way of producing it and doing all the things they do back at the studio. That's all. No more, no less. I need the support. If you guys are going to go to Amazon.com and shop, I'm not telling you to buy anything, but if you do, sure would appreciate it if you'd help a brother out. And this month we're having a contest for whoever spends the most dollars on Amazon.com. The top 3 spenders get a free PodcastOne.com shirt signed by yours truly. And because I'm such a nice guy, and because I'm in a good mood, I'll toss in a damn 8x10 signed picture along with it. All you got to do is email your receipt into IUsedYourAmazon@gmail.com. That's right, just like I said it. IUsedYourAmazon@gmail.com. Put SAS T-shirt in the subject line. Put SAS T-shirt in the subject line. So, appreciate the help on the support of the show. And I tell you what, it's morning right now. One of my noses is stopped up. I got all these jacked up, deviated septums and broke nose about 4 or 5 times. I swear it sounds just like I ate a Viagra for breakfast. My nose is stopped up. At least my eyes ain't all fucking runny and my skin's all splotchy. God damn it, I ain't seeing no blue spots. I can see all my notes. I'm not sitting here with a goddamn heart on either. That'd be a real clusterfuck. Anyway, enough about that. Let me take a swig of coffee for the working man, for the working woman who just got up and drank the same shit, to wake 'em up, to haul ass in, and put in an honest day's work. Swig of coffee for the working man. Man, I tell you what. I told you guys the other day about my show coming down here to Broken Skull Ranch, staying at the Shitbox Hotel, taking a shit at the truck stop, getting my teeth cleaned, the Cuchitronic 6000. I brought that motherfucker with me. I mean, I'm using it as a toothbrush. It'd be a motherfucker to go to brush your teeth with a pretty good hangover and have the wrong attachment on that motherfucker. Boy, that'd be a motherfucker, wouldn't it? That toothpaste got a little whang to it. You know what I'm saying? I talked to a guy the other day who was telling me that Jerry Briscoe listens to the Steve Austin Show. I bet Stone Cold Steve Austin's going to have some words to say about that. So I want to say hello to Jerry Briscoe if you're out there listening. A really good friend of mine who really helped influence my career and Stone Cold's while in the WWE. Jerry, I hope this show finds you doing well and kicking ass. And with that being said, I got to tell you one more story before we talk to Stone Cold. Well, you better not tell too many goddamn stories, because I ain't going to sit over here and drink this burn-up coffee all day long, motherfucker. You ain't going to bring Stone Cold on your show and treat him like a jabroni, like I'm some kind of nobody, and just ignore me. Well, I know, Stone Cold, but we have some business to take care of. I've got the bills to pay, do all my due process, get my stuff out there. I'm not trying to treat you like a jabroni. I just kind of want to build your appearance on the show. You're the biggest guest that we've ever had on this show. So I'm going to get to you in a few more minutes. Yeah, you ain't got to bill Stone Cold, brother. Listen, Stone Cold, I know I ain't got to build Stone Cold, but I do. I just can't have you on here and then you just start talking, because I've got to take care of the business. This is the Steve Austin Show. I got sponsors to take care of. I got people to take care of. I got all kinds of things to take care of. I don't mean to dish you. I'm not trying to disrespect you, but it is what it is. I've got to do what I've got to do to run this show. So I don't mean it as any kind of disrespect. I'm just saying I got to do what I got to do. And speaking of goddamn doing what I got to do, I asked you guys the other week to send me a couple of emails in the form of where you listen to the show, because I was trying to find out how worldwide this show was. And I got about 100 and some odd emails. I just checked my emails this morning. I had about 150 more. Real quickly, I got a couple from Newcastle, England, Scotland, Florida, Kentucky, Toronto, Dublin, Ireland, Boston, Mass, Tacoma, Washington, Trussville, Alabama, Muncie, Indiana, Waxahachie, Texas, Virginia, Bay City, Michigan, Marion, Iowa, Broken Arrow, Oklahoma, Houston, Texas, Lufkin, Texas, India, Alton, Illinois, Hamar, Norway, Reading, UK, Holland, Crawfordsville, Indiana, Tampa, Florida, Middletown, New York, Cape Town, South Africa, Sheffield, England, London, England, Plant City, Florida, Glasgow, Scotland, Liverpool, England, Portsmouth, England. A lot of motherfuckers in England listen to this show. Northwest Florida, East Sussex, England, Brooklyn, New York, Toledo, Ohio, Loudon, New Hampshire, Orlando, Florida, Sonora, Mexico, Central Scotland, Denver, Colorado, Cincinnati, Ohio, Orlando, Virginia, by way of D.C., Waterford, Ireland, Elliott City, Maryland, Miami, Florida, St. Joseph, Illinois. I always got to put that S in there to annoy people from Illinois. Shreveport, Louisiana. Good old Shreveport. Love me some Creole cooking, some Cajun food. Southern New Jersey, Chicago, Illinois, Bentonville, Arkansas, Detroit, Michigan, Nottingham, Oxford, Miss, Georgia, Telford, UK, Las Vegas, San Diego, Spain, Canberra, Australia, Lexington, Kentucky, Adelaide, South Australia, The Hague, Holland, Alabama, Monroe, Ensenada, Baja, Mexico, Sierra Vista, Arizona, Sheffield, England, Calgary, Alberta, Canada, Red Deer, Canada. Man, I wrestle in many shows in that little shithole town. With all due respect to the people of Red Deer, Yorkshire, England, Roosevelt, Utah, Edmonton, Sunderland, England, Somers, New York, all kinds of places. That's just a few, and I got a bunch more. I'll do some more on another show. Stone Cold's over here rolling his eyes. He's madder than a goddamn hornet. The last thing I want to do is piss this guy off early in the morning. Stone Cold, do you want another cup of coffee? You damn right I want another cup of coffee. Get your ass over there and make me one. Hell, check it out, Stone Cold. I'm going to treat you with respect, but I expect you to treat me with respect back, because this Steve Austin show, I'm the bottom line here, as you always say, so you're not going to yell at me early in the morning. I know firsthand that you're not exactly a morning person, but with that being said, I'll go fix you another cup of coffee, take a pause for the cause, and we'll get on with it. But I got a few more things to do before I get that cup of coffee, including taking a swig of my own cup of coffee. Hang on, swig of coffee for the working man, working woman. Hey, before I get Stone Cold a cup of coffee, I got a story for you. Me and Hershey was driving around the Bronco the other day. We was about 3 miles from camp, and I got a 95 and a 96 Bronco out here, some of the toughest vehicles ever known to mankind. Well, we was driving along, and the Bronco just shut down on me. Motherfucker quit. And it just didn't make any crazy noises. It just quit. And it was kind of one of those sounds where that motor just says, fuck it. I ain't going no further. I've had it. I've had enough. I quit. So I tried to crank it a few times, and it wouldn't fire back up. And I'm thinking, man, what the fuck's wrong with this motherfucker? This ain't good news. When you're out in the middle of nowhere, in the brush country, and way at the back of the Broken Skull Ranch, this ain't a good thing. Didn't have no water. I was carrying a bolt-action gun, a Steyr scout rifle, which I'm doing some research on this weekend. I'll write a report on my blog for thebrokenSkullRanch.com, my website. So what do you do when you run out of gas and you're 3 miles from the house? Well, I'll tell you what you do. You don't do this. Taxi! You ain't going to get no fucking taxi out here in the middle of goddamn nowhere. And I'm the only sumbitch around this motherfucker. All my neighbors, I mean, you're talking about thousands and thousands and thousands of acres. So what do? Well, goddamn, you get on your feet and you start walking back to camp. So me and her, she had a pretty good walk. It's about 3 miles. And, man, she's happier than a pig in shit because she'd run around smelling everything. But problem was, man, we're just walking down the roads and it's not real grassy down here because of the heat. But you got to watch for rattlesnakes in this environment. So I got to be careful, watch her, keep her out of that brush so she don't get on a rattlesnake. And I didn't have my snake boots on, just wearing a pair of tennies. But it don't matter. I was walking down the road. Everything was good. And we made it back. And so I was going to get a buddy of mine to come down and pull that Bronco with a chain back to camp so I could have my mechanics come take a look at it. Well, I went over there the next day just to shits and giggles to see if it would start, and it did. So I drove that bitch back here to the house, and here it sits. And believe it or not, I had a 2007 Chevy Z71, which I'm fixing to sell. The rats had chewed my fuse box on that thing, so my mechanics had came out there and picked that vehicle up, and they were in the process of coming out and dropping that off. So as they dropped that off, they loaded up my Bronco and took it back into town. I'm sure them goddamn rats have done something to chew some wires or whatnot up underneath that motor and shorted something out. People in South Texas know what the fuck I'm talking about in dealing with these rats. They are a pain in the ass. I don't know how to combat these motherfuckers. We do everything we can. When we park our vehicles to go home, we pop the hoods on everything so they don't really feel like they can nest on the motor. On my Polaris, I pop the hoods. I take off all the seats so they don't have anything to nest under. I hook on my trickle chargers. But them rats come in there, and for some reason, rats love to chew electrical wires. If there's one thing I can't stand, it's a motherfucking rat chewing up all the electrical stuff on my vehicles. You go to New York City, they're famous for having big-ass rats in the sewers. I don't know what those motherfuckers eat. I don't know that they destroy cars, but the ones out here in South Texas, those low-down, dirty motherfucking vermin, they eat everything good that I got. If you got a solution to my problem, you can send it to questions@steveaustonshow.com, and you can put right there on the subject line, rat solution. If you got a rat solution for me that works, I'll send your ass a Steve Austin Show T-shirt that I'm fixing to get print up. I'm all fired up about these damn rats. Them motherfuckers have cost me so much goddamn money, I might sell this motherfucking ranch just so I can get out of debt from taking care of rat damage. Swig of coffee for the working man. Hey, I got some good news for you. As I said earlier, Stone Cold Steve Austin is sitting here live and in living color. Going to talk to him. I'm going to ask him your questions. And, shit, I almost forgot. I'm all worked up. Still in the morning drinking coffee. Let's talk about the word of the day a little bit. Word of the day is cock block. Cock block is the word of the day. What is the definition of cock block? Check it out. To interfere with someone who is getting acquainted with, conversing with, or hooking up with a member of the opposite sex or the same sex, whatever it may be. Here's another definition of cock block. A motor vehicle maneuver usually done by a cocksucker and other ignorant people designed to prevent someone from changing lanes in traffic. I deal with a lot of those cock blockers. I'll use cock block in a sentence for you. I was trying to turn into the liquor store to get me a 40, and some shithead driving a Prius cock blocked the turn lane. That's cock block. Here's cock block in another sentence, in another context. Hey, I was digging this hot chick at the club, and some dipshit with a mullet kept cock blocking me. Motherfucker got in my ways from me trying to score. Ha! A little you-know-what. Ha! Cock block is the word of the day. And guess what, folks? I got good news for you. I got real good news for you. You're going to dig this. Swig of coffee for the working man. Let me thumb through my notes here. What was the good news I had? Oh, here it is. I didn't even look for the paper. Ha! Check it out. I got my guitar. This is a guitar that was given to me by Zach Wild of Black Label Society. He used to play for Ozzy Osbourne. A good friend of mine. Zach lives about 50 miles outside of Los Angeles. And back in the day, I used to go out there and drink with him, and he'd have a couple of buddies out there, and we'd sit around and listen to some of the new tunes he was working on. And he also had a piano there in his living room. And Zach would rather really actually get on the piano and sing a bunch of songs and shit like that. And his wife is affectionately known as the Warden. I think I am the only human being who actually got banned from coming out to Zach's house. The warden said, no more, enough. Steve Austin is not invited to the house anymore. Well, I think I'm still invited to the house. I think when I show up, I cannot show up with a half-gallon of Crown Royal. Because when I showed up with a half-gallon of Crown Royal, we drank a half-gallon of Crown Royal. And it wasn't a pretty sight. I remember back in the day when we'd go out there, Zach had this big jacked-up Ford F-350, big-ass tires on it, and we getting that son of a bitch, and he had some property out there, and we were rip-roaring around doing a bunch of stupid shit that I would highly recommend to no one. But nonetheless, I got my guitar. Hey, I wrote a little song for you. Let me check this out, see if you guys dig on this. A little out of tune? Oh, it sounds good to me. Early in the morning, bear with me on my voice. I've been taking some singing lessons. Been taking singing lessons from one of the greatest voice coaches in the history of music in Los Angeles. I've been working with some of the top producers out there. I'm thinking about coming out with my own CD, album, whatever you call it in today's age. Music as we know it has changed. It's all downloads and shit like that. I don't know if you say, I might be coming out with a computer chip. What do you fucking think about that? Or what would you say? Yeah, how's y'all's new album going? It's not an album, it's a bunch of gigabytes. I don't know. But nonetheless, I think I might sign a recording contract here very quickly with one of the top producers in the history of music. It's an exciting time for me. It's an exciting time for music, actually, because I'm across a lot of genres. Within my music, I'm going to probably try to cover, some basic bluegrass stuff, moving into country music, and bring in some old hip-hop style rap. And then I'm going to cross in that with some Stevie Ray Vaughan blues, mixed with some heavy metal, with like some kind of real Iron Maiden type metal, moving into some crazy ass Metallica meets Megadeth type shit with a little what's that band called? Seven Dust? No, that's the Poison. Anyway, you know what I'm saying. I got some good shit going on. But check it out. I wrote you guys a song. And this is an original song, which I've never heard anyone sing. Doesn't sound like anything I've ever heard. But let me see if I can break down. And I've only got about halfway written, so I don't want to spoil the album for you or the little gimmick chip for you. But here's a little piece of what I'm working on. And remember, it's morning, so I ain't got quite my singing voice on. But anyway, I broke down my Bronco, ate me a taco, caught a bug and had to shit like a goose. But there's a clean toilet, and I'm running for it, 'cause my cattywampus ass can no longer hold it. Wasting away to get to Toiletoville. Searching for my lost roll of toilet paper. Some people claim that and that's as far as I've gotten on this song. I'm telling you what, folks, if this motherfucker don't hit number one, I'll kiss your ass. And that would be a lot of asses to kiss, because the Steve Austin Show has gone worldwide. And I want to thank you right now for listening to this motherfucker. I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart, because I love to talk on this show. Now that I got my guitar, I'll be singing for you. Or maybe not, depending on the emails that you sent in. If you've got questions, comments, any subjects you'd like for me to cover, you can send those to questions@steveaustinshow.com, and that's the bottom line. I'm going to take a break. We're going to take a word from our sponsors. Right now, I want to thank my sponsors for staying on top of the Steve Austin Show. This is one edgy motherfucker. I dig them the most. Show them a little love as I entertain folks from coast to coast. I'm writing lyrics and songs like a lyrical genius, and I ain't even trying to. This is Steve Austin. I'm coming back in a few seconds with the man, the myth, the legend, the icon himself, Stone Cold Steve Austin. You do not want to miss this. Hang on.
Hey, this is Adam Carolla from The Adam Carolla Show. Well, if you care about predictions, then you care about props. And when March Madness tips off, The props tell the real story. From buzzer beaters to bracket busters, nobody does tournament props like BetOnline. For years, BetOnline has been the home of real sports betting. Deep markets, sharp odds, and player props built for fans who watch games and study the matchups and anticipate the upsets. From the opening tip of the first four to the final cut of the nets, BetOnline delivers live betting, instant updates, and in-game odds that move with every possession. And this March, the madness goes even bigger with the BetOnline $200,000 Bracket Madness Contest, where the winner takes home $50,000 cash. Build your bracket, beat the field, and take your shot at one of the biggest tournament prizes in sports betting. And when the games end, keep the action going with BetOnline Casino and exclusive VIP rewards built for serious players. Brackets follow the hype. BetOnline sets the line. March Madness is here. BetOnline. The game starts here.
Welcome to the Steve Austin Show.
All right, everybody, and I'm back from a commercial break. Appreciate my sponsors. Before we get cranked up with the man, Stone Cold Steve Austin, the guy who's done so much for the world of professional wrestling, a guy who really changed the game, so to speak, a guy who brought a lot of gray into a world of black and white. That guy who kind of rode the lightning bolt between being a heel and a baby face, but depending on what he was working, was either one of those. A very edgy guy, to say the least. Edgy in his personal life, certainly edgy in a 20 by 20 squared circle when he's working with the WWE. I'm lucky to have him out here at the Broken Skull Ranch, live and in living person. I'm a little bit, I don't want to use the word trepidatious because trepidatious ain't in my dictionary, but nonetheless, I will proceed somewhat with caution, but proceed forward at a rapid pace. This is the Steve Austin Show. I am, as he would say, the bottom line, and we're going to talk to Stone Cold Steve Austin after I tell you one more time about this Amazon.com stuff, because if you guys want to support the Steve Austin Show, if you go to PodcastOne.com, click on the Amazon banner on the Steve Austin Show page, save that in your URL. That will get you to the same Amazon place you normally go, but with a bonus, because Amazon will kick back a small piece of chump change on the sale to help support the Steve Austin Show. It helps keep this show up and running. And if you want to take a shortcut, you can also go to my personal website, BrokenSkullRanch.com. There's an Amazon link right there on the home page on the right-hand side. Click on that, save that on your URL, and you're good to go. And Amazon just shows a little bit of love to the SAS and keeps this motherfucker up there for free. Anyway, before I waste any more time fiddle fucking around, I cannot lollygag any longer. I go into this interview and I ain't pussyfooting around. But then again, you know, I don't want to sass Stone Cold Steve Austin because this sumbitch come upside my head and knock me all cattywampus. So anyway, here's the man, the living legend himself, Stone Cold Steve Austin. Welcome to the show. Well, I'm glad to be here, motherfucker. You got any questions to ask Stone Cold? Because I've been sitting over here for 25 minutes while you've been over there flapping your gums, singing on that stupid guitar, and I drove down here 1,500 miles to be on your stupid show. So if you're going to ask questions, you might as well start asking questions. Otherwise, I'll throw your ass through this goddamn window, and once you land out there in that gravel, I'll walk outside, stomp a mud hole in your ass. I ain't wearing nothing but a pair of flip-flops, but it ain't nothing but a thing like a chicken wing on a shoestring for me to bury my foot up your ass, and when I pull it out, that flip-flop will stay there. So you can take your little ass to the hospital, get an MRI, an X-ray, or whatever it takes to get that flip-flop removed from your intestines. What do you got to say about that? Well, Stone Cold, I mean, during the break, I made you a cup of coffee, but I didn't know you was going to show up in a real pissed off mood. Well, how'd you expect me to show up? You wake me up early, treat me like a jabroni, trying to stall all this time, and I want to know what happened. You let me borrow your toothbrush. What the fuck was on the end of that toothbrush? It tasted like shit. Oh, I forgot. You borrowed my toothbrush this morning. Yeah, I borrowed your toothbrush this morning. What happened? That's a long story, Stone Cold. You actually used the Coochie-tronic 6000 to brush your teeth with. Now, Coochie-tronic, what are you talking about? Never mind, it's a long story, but I'm sure your teeth got clean enough. Could you step back about 3 feet because I'm kind of smelling a little bit of something? Let's go on with the interview, Stone Cold. But before we go on with the interview, I thought I would sing you a song just from me to you back in the day and kind of help you wake up and get you in a cheery mood. Here goes. Kumbaya, my lord, kumbaya. Kumbaya, my lord, kumbaya, kumbaya. Give me that goddamn guitar. Stone Cold, I'm just trying to sing you Kumbaya. I used to sing it all the time on Monday Night Raw. I don't give a rat's ass what the fuck I used to do on Monday Night Raw. You didn't bring me down here to sit on a damn guitar singing me Kumbaya. Well, dude, you ain't going to get hot about it, man. I'm just trying to entertain your ass. Yeah, well, you can entertain Stone Cold Steve Austin by asking him some questions. Well, all right. How was your drive down here at the Broken Skull Ranch? What difference does it make how my drive was? I'm sitting here live and living color right here in front of you. Just ask me some stupid questions. All right, well, how do you like living in California? I know you've been living out in California now about 10 years. How's that? What does it make a difference if I'm living in California or not? I could be living in New York City. I could live in Des Moines, Iowa. I could be in Oklahoma City. I could be in Indiana. I could be in Minnesota. What the fuck difference does it make where the fuck I live? Ask me some stupid questions. Boy, I tell you what, you might have had one too many cups of coffee. Do you want me to? No, I don't want you to sing me another song. Well, all right, let's get down to business. Let's talk about a little bit about wrestling. I know that when I listen to you talk sometimes that you like to help the future generation of upcomers in the WWF. And speaking of upcomers and guys that are trying to break into business, whether it's in the WWE or guy in the independent circuit or some of the cats down there in TNA trying to make a name for themselves, I know that you love wrestling. I know that you spilled blood, sweat, and tears and left body parts all over the United States, all over the world working with WWE. I know that it's in your blood, but you watch all forms of wrestling. So with that being said, without any further ado, I just had a couple of questions that I wanted to ask you before we get to the ones from the fans. So, Stone Cold, in your opinion, what makes a great baby face? Well, that's a goddamn good question. Anybody out there listening wants a little bit of 411 on wrestling, shut the fuck up, put whatever you're doing down, and listen to what Stone Cold Steve Austin got to say. A great babyface, in my opinion, has got to have great fire. A great babyface has to be able to sell like a motherfucker. A great babyface has to have a solid work base. And a great babyface has to have a great promo, or at least a good promo. When you're in that ring, people cannot be able to see through your work. All the holds, all the moves, you must execute with perfection. When I say fire, when that heel has cheated too much, you have to get pissed off. You have to show a spark of energy. When you make that comeback, you have to throw all the rules out the book. You have to be a pissed off, mad motherfucker. And it's almost, they call it fire, but I mean, it's just, you have to be livid. You have to give a shit. You have to make that crowd feel the emotions that you are feeling. If the crowd does not feel your emotions, you are an ineffective babyface. With that fire, you've got to sell. You've got to show vulnerability. You have to show, I don't care how tough you are, even as Stone Cold Steve Austin back in the day, I had to be vulnerable to a degree. You're going to have different levels of babyface. Some may be white meat, easy to get heat on. Some are going to be more like The Undertaker, a babyface, but not a guy you're really going to feel sympathy for, but you will cheer for because you respect him so much, and you know that he will arise soon enough from that set of heat that relentless heel has instilled upon him. So there's different levels of babyface. But if I was just going to go traditional babyface with a lot of fire who could sell and had solid work and good promos. Three of my favorite baby faces, and this is not the top three in the history of the business, but if you're looking to watch a baby face's work for the tangibles that I have laid out, I would check out Ricky Steamboat, Ricky Morton, and Dusty Rhodes. Ricky Morton was big as a minute, but you talk about one of the most fiery competitors to ever step inside a squared circle. Ricky Morton had a damn good promo. You could not see through his work, and he had tons of fire. Ricky Steamboat is on the top of the list. I've never seen Ricky Steamboat when he was green. He was always good. He could fill in the gaps. Work was his specialty. Fire was his specialty. Selling was his specialty, but never dying. When you sell, you cannot die. You must keep yourself alive. If that heel is not keeping you alive, you must keep yourself alive. Steamboat, great at that. And then you go down to Dusty Rhodes, the American Dream, one of the all-time greatest in the history of the business. A guy could talk anybody into the building. Dusty Rhodes could work his ass off. You could not see through his work. One of the most charismatic entertainers of all time. Look to Dusty Rhodes. Watch some of the trademark moves he did. Watch his fire. You could get that motherfucker down, and he would keep fighting, and he would sell. He was like Laurence Olivier when it came time to sell. Not too many people could sell like the three guys I've mentioned, Steamboat, Morton, and Rhodes. All right, that's pretty good. That's pretty damn good, but let's talk about what makes a great heel. I'm interested to see your take on this. Well, I'll tell you what makes a great heel. As a great heel, one of the most important things that you need to have a mean streak. And I mean that because I don't think there's too many people in the ring today who really possess that mean streak. And there's also almost hand in hand with that mean streak is what I like to call a piece of shit factor. A piece of shit factor means you will go above and beyond whatever it takes to get heat on that babyface. You cannot give a shit. Some people would want to work heel, but were afraid of the heat that the crowd would give them. Hey, back in the day, people used to come back from the ring after working a heavy-duty angle in a territory. The crowd was so hot, the babyfaces were over to such a large degree when they left those motherfuckers laying in a pool of blood. Guys were getting knifed and stabbed on the way back to the dressing room. Many times back in the day, they would have to fight their way back into the dressing room. So you've got to have that piece of shit factor that goes right hand in hand with that mean streak. A good heel, or a great heel rather, is also relentless. It doesn't mean you rush through things. You just must be relentless. We're relentless in shining that baby face, telling the story, letting him out-wrestle you, outsmart you, whatever the case may be, then grinding that baby face down and establishing a strong set of heat worthy of a tremendous comeback. You must be able to read that crowd. How do you read a crowd? You read a crowd by listening to that crowd. You should be able to hear a cricket fart up in row 100 as a heel. I'm a deaf motherfucker. I can barely hear. But once you get me in an arena, whether it's a 500-seater, a 20,000-seater, or a 70,000-seater, I can hear a cricket fart in row 200 because I am tuned into that crowd. A great heel will always listen. You've got to know psychology. You got to know how to shine that baby face, when to cut him off, when to give him a hope spot, how to keep him alive, and then going along with the relentless factor, you've got to flip-flop and fly for that baby face when it's time to give it all back in that comeback as you head into the finish. All the false finishes, and whether you're going over or he's going over, you've got to be able to always have some reserves in your gas tank. You cannot blow up as a great heel. And to top it all off, it all goes back to working that microphone. You've got to be able to cut an effective promo. And if there's a couple of guys who, embodied some of the things which I just said, I would pick Buzz Sawyer as one of my heels with a great mean streak. Not so much the greatest promo in the world, but when he did cut a promo, I believed he was out of his mind. I believed wrestling was real. Now, granted, this was back in the day before all of the exposés, but this motherfucker was a walking mean streak 24/7. I also dug a guy called Adorable Adrian Adonis. Adrian Adonis, there was something about him when he went to get the heat. He switched, and he turned into the biggest piece of shit you could imagine. He did not rush. He was relentless in his heat. He would flip-flop and fly for that babyface on a comeback. Was he the greatest in the world? No. But just when he got his heat, it really made an impact on me. Of course, you got to throw the nature boy Ric Flair in there, one of the greatest workers of all time, one of the greatest, in my mind, psychologists of all time, and obviously a great, great talker. Ric Flair could go in there, shine up a babyface, pick on a body part for 10 or 15 minutes, put the babyface back on top, then ground him, and work on that damn knee for 15, 20 more minutes as he tried to set up the figure four. That was a classic Ric Flair match. Some people will argue, have you seen one Ric Flair match, you've seen them all. Well, to a degree, that's like saying if you've heard one Boston song or one Van Halen song, you've heard them all. All bands sound the same to a degree. Every wrestler wrestled to the same match to a degree. If you've seen one Stone Cold match, you've seen all of those too. Certainly, they're all going to be different. But that's one of the biggest knocks against Ric Flair. How many times can you get thrown off a top turnbuckle before you know that, hey, I better not climb this motherfucker? That's entertainment. That's one of the intangibles that Ric Flair brought. But that's what I loved about the guy. I never seen Ric Flair blow up a match in my life. So Buzz Sawyer, Adrian Adonis, Ric Flair would have been three great heels for you young cats just to look at pieces of their work and check them out. One more guy who I'll throw in here from a heel babyface standpoint, if you watch Bret the Hitman Hart, whether he was a heel or baby, and the thing about having fire as a baby, you can't have, let me put this a different way, you can have fire, but you've got to be able to gauge that fire so you don't look like you're complaining or crying every time that heel cheats. So that's something that you have to weigh in very delicately with. Some of you will understand that, some of you will not. But Bret Hart, whether he worked heel or baby, his work was so credible you could not see through none of it. And he had a vicious, mean streak when he had the heat, and he was relentless. Bret Hart would stay on your ass. As a babyface, I loved the way he would sell. I loved the way he took his time, whether he was working heel or baby. So Bret Hart is also in my list. Man, that's interesting, Stone Cold. You dig talking about wrestling, and with those answers of what makes a great heel and what makes a great babyface, seemingly to me, great tag team wrestling has disappeared. Why is that? I don't know why great tag team wrestling has disappeared. It just seems to be more of a solo type sport where guys are, truly, once you get into the business of professional wrestling, you're in it for yourself. I would rather depend on myself, the guy looking at me in the mirror any old day of the week, than having to depend on a partner who may get hurt, who may get injured, who may want to take off, who may get burned out. Maybe he's on drugs. If I've got to depend on a guy looking at me in the mirror, I'm in a better place because it's all on my shoulders. But seemingly, a lot of the importance has been taken off of the tag team division, and that is a shame because when you have two great tag teams in there who know how to work and understand the dynamics of a match, two tag teams who are really over as a heel team, over as a babyface team, with everything that they can do, with a great referee drawing that ref, stuff behind the ref's back, cutting off the ring, false tags, false finishes, interference from outside, shenanigans going on, brawls outside the ring. A very exciting tag match can steal the show almost every night of the tour if you have great tag teams in the ring. And I always looked at, to name a couple of my favorite tag teams, and there's many others out there, but if I had to say a bunch of great tag teams, I'll give you 7, and I'll start off with the Rock and Roll Express. Ricky Morton and Robert Gibson. These guys should be in the Hall of Fame. Midnight Express, Bobby Eaton and Loverboy Dennis Condrey, or Bobby Eaton and Sweet Stan Lane. Those guys could work their ass off. Whichever combination you're talking about, those guys should be in the Hall of Fame. Now, when you're talking about the Midnight Express, you've got to throw one of the greatest managers in the history of the business, one of the greatest all-time talkers in the history of the business, Jim Cornette, into the mix. When you had the Midnight Express doing all the dirty deeds they did to get heat, and you've got Jim Cornette flapping his gums on the microphone, and nobody could talk like Jimmy Cornette, then you have a winning combination. Jim Cornette used to piss me off so much as a kid, I would like to climb through my TV screen and punch him in the mouth, steal his tennis racket, and whip his ass with it. Jimmy Cornette, highly effective. Here's a tag team a lot of you guys might not have heard of nowadays as I speak, but back in the days in the USWA and that Mid-South area, the fabulous ones, Steve Kern and Stan Lane. Two good-looking cats, rugged, work their ass off, lots of fire, great gimmick, and those guys put asses in the seat and would give anybody a great match. Fabulous Freebirds, Michael P.S. Hayes, Terry Bam Bam Gordy, Buddy Roberts, Michael Hayes. These guys, the Fabulous Freebirds, I think were the first tag team or first team in general to ever come out to the ring with music. Michael Hayes, one of the great all-time talkers, a heat-seeking missile, not the greatest athlete in the world, but when I used to pay my money to go see the Freebirds take on the Von Erichs in the Sportatorium in Dallas, Texas, the Freebirds were one of the big reasons I paid money. And to watch Michael Hayes, the entrance was worth the price of admission, come down in that sequin red rebel flag robe. And then you had the Heater, Terry Bam Bam Gordy, the Bully, the Mean Streak, and Buddy Roberts. The guy who everybody's ass they thought they could kick, Buddy Roberts. Those three guys was a hellacious combination. Talk about the Road Warriors, Hawk and Animal. You don't need to go on and on and on about these guys. These guys changed the face of tag team wrestling. Some say for the good, some say for the worse, but kings of the no-sell, kings of power, kings of intimidation. Man, when the Road Warriors music hit, you stood up, goosebumps popped out. It was Hawk and Animal with Precious Paul Ellering as their manager. These guys were awesome. You looked at the Road Warriors and you either were intimidated or you were scared, but you respected these guys. And they had one of the greatest tag team careers in the history of the business. While we're talking about tag teams, man, you can't get no better than the Andersons. I didn't get a chance to see a whole lot of Gene and Ole, but I saw a lot of Ole and Arn, and that's probably my favorite combination right there because yet Ole was the mean streak. He was the bully. He was the promo, the straightforward guy. Arn was the worker. Arn was also a grade A promo. We can talk a mile of trash, but he was the guy, the spark plug of that team, and really I think the consummate worker of that team. But the combination of the two was such that it was a badass combination. And those guys, you want to talk about a mean streak, you can't get no better mean streak or piece of shit factor than the Andersons. Rough and tough, but when it came time to give it back, they could and would. Also, when you throw Tully into the mix with Arn, and they brought those guys up to WWF as the Brain Busters, those two guys could have a match with anybody. Tully Blanchard brought innate cockiness, an ability to talk, and another one of those guys who, when you watched him in the ring, you think, man, I can kick this motherfucker's ass. But the Andersons, any combination, was money. My last tag team on the list is going to be the Midnight Rockers, Shawn Michaels and Marty Jannetty. Shawn Michaels in the Hall of Fame, the greatest single performer I've ever seen inside the squared circle. I've never seen anybody do the things that Shawn Michaels did on a night-in, night-out basis. And when I say that, I just say it from an execution standpoint. Peerless. Marty Jannetty, a great worker in his own right, but that would be my list of tag teams. And going back to what I was telling you earlier, Steve, it's a shame that more focus is not placed on tag teams these days. I think they're in today's mix, at least as far as WWE goes, they're compiling more talent. I think they should definitely dedicate more effort to bringing up the tag team division, because you talk about excitement when you have dedicated tag teams and you're not just throwing two WWE superstars on the same team and letting them have a month run to build up to a pay-per-view. Can you have a good match like that? Yes, you can. But do you have true tag team wrestling with all the psychology employed, cutting off the ring, being able to work at referee with all the great false tags going into the false finishes? I think not. It takes a lot of time for these guys to spend together to turn into a true team. It's easy to go out there and have a tag team match with another guy who's not your partner, but to do all the little things, all the things that add up, that can really twist and turn and work that crowd, you truly have to be on the same page. And that's what tag team wrestling is all about. God damn, you got me all fired up about tag team wrestling. You got anything else you want to ask me? Well, yeah, I got a bunch of questions I want to ask you. Let's go to, you know what? Let's don't do that. Let's go back and let us take a break and have a word from our sponsors. And when I come back, I'm going to ask you some questions from the people that I asked to send in questions. And we're going to do that right after I sing a song. Well, I broke down my Bronco out in the pasture.
Welcome to the Steve Austin Show.
All right, everybody, coming back from a little bit of break here. I want to show my sponsors some love. I appreciate them staying on board the Steve Austin Show. We got a little bit of an edgy animal here, but that is what it is because that's who and what I am. And I'm sitting here with the man himself, Stone Cold Steve Austin. I sent you guys out a tweet that said if you had questions for Stone Cold, send them in, and we're going to take care of that. But before we do, I want to remind you guys about Redneck Island on CMT Saturdays, 8 p.m. Central, 9 p.m. Eastern. I also want to remind you, Grown Ups 2 comes out July 12th. I've got a part in that movie. Also want to remind you, on July 12th on AXS TV, I'm going to be on The Voice versus Steve Austin with Michael Chiavelli. 8 p.m. Eastern, 10 p.m. repeat Eastern. You're not going to want to miss this interview, probably one of the best interviews I've ever done. The Voice versus Steve Austin with Michael Chiavelli on July 12th, 8 p.m. Eastern. There's a repeat at 10 p.m. Eastern. I might have even got a little bit emotional on this, as a matter of fact. But anyway, with that being said, I asked you guys to send in questions. My guest is Stone Cold Steve Austin. He threatened me during a commercial break that he was going to yank the guitar from me and shove it straight up my ass, and that I would have to open my mouth to tune this motherfucker, so I probably will not pick up the guitar again. Nonetheless, let's get to some questions. Make a good one here for Stone Cold. I know these guys at the studio will trim out all these. All right, here we go. This is a question from Kirk up in Philadelphia. Stone Cold, did you accomplish everything you had originally set out to accomplish as Stone Cold Steve Austin? Well, you know what? That's a good-ass question. And you know what? That being said, I might drive up Philadelphia and put my foot up your ass because I don't think I got a chance to whoop enough ass. I had several cans of whoop ass left to open. I didn't get a chance to open those. I had to ride off into the sunset a little bit too early. So I had unfinished business to take care of. I would have loved another couple championship runs. I would have loved to work with a couple of the cats that are in the system right now today. But that didn't happen. It is what it is. But, you know, I whipped a lot of ass while I was there. I had a lot of feuds. I had a lot of fun feuding with everybody that I feuded with, all the way from Vince to Brett to Rock. The matches I had with Triple H, I had a damn blast. And I drank so much damn beer, Stone Cold Steve Austin, I had an absolute blast. A lot of blood, sweat, and tears left all over the world, and I had a damn good time doing it. I could have stayed around a little bit longer, I would have, but it was trying to get the fuck out of Dodge. You know what I'm saying, brother? Thank you for the question. Goddamn, Stone Cold, you're actually being pretty nice to these guys. That's well, what do you want me to do? Be fucking rude to your listeners? Well, no, not rude, but anyway, it's nice to see you tone down a little bit. But anyway, let's go to another question. Stone Cold, I always wondered who was throwing you beers into the ring. I always thought whoever it was like Stallback, always putting it on the numbers. Who was throwing you the beers? The guy that used to throw me those beers was a guy named Mark Eaton. He was a timekeeper. He was one down there running that bell. And, man, the thing about throwing beers in an arena is you're kind of either coming underneath and through the ropes or over the ropes. So you got to have that lob factor in there. You got to throw them underhanded. Overhand, you know, we only threw a couple of like that because you don't get the right trajectory. Mark Eaton was a guy who's throwing me those beers. And I got to say, give Mark a shout-out because I don't know how many beers that motherfucker tossed me, but he was on the money damn near every time. I remember one time, I think it was on a pay-per-view or television, it was something, I misjudged one, and that motherfucker hit me right between the eyes and the forehead. Of course, I had to do the no-sell routine like it never happened, but that son of a bitch knocked the shit out of me. It didn't hurt. But Mark Eaton, and I think, if I am not mistaken, you can follow Mark on Twitter at WWE Timekeeper. Hell of a job, Mark, and if you listen to the show, appreciate all the beers you tossed me. It was a damn good time working with you. Now, ask me another question before I throw you chump ass through that window. Oh, it's Stone Cold. You ain't got to get hot about it, man. God damn it. Here's one. Shit. Here we go. Well, this one's actually for me. Hey, Steve, huge fan of the show, no question, but I would like to say how I personally love when you shoot the shit with us. Hearing stories about what's going on in your life, I feel like I had a full ab workout after listening, and stories are very helpful and educational with the word of the day. And we also learned that the word of the day was cock block. We all know what cock block means now. I never carried a pocket knife with until you advised it, and the scrubber on the stick is pure genius. Please keep doing it and don't stop. No time. I love the show. Oh, hell yeah. For a future show, you should get your wife on the show and shoot the shit. Well, on that note, I've asked my wife to be on a couple of these shows, and she said she's down for it, and she'll be on here pretty quick. It'd be nice to get her 411 on a lot of stuff that goes on here. Might have to tone my language down a little bit, actually. Maybe she'd be down with it, but she's going to be on the show coming up in a couple future episodes. Hopefully, she's chipped in from time to time when she's laying over on the couch, but nonetheless, let's go back to the questions for Stone Cold. Hey, Austin, been watching tweets between CM Punk and you. Are you friends or something? Well, Stone Cold, are you friends with CM Punk? I ain't friends with nobody. As far as the Twitter account goes, somebody wants to send me a damn tweet, I'm going to tweet them back. CM Punk's a damn good hand, but he ain't got the damn talent to lace my boots, if you know what I'm saying. If CM Punk was smart, he would leave Stone Cold Steve Austin alone, and that's all I got to say about that. Well, but surely you guys are friends because, you know, I know you've talked to him and you've said in the past that you got a lot of respect for the guy and the promos and his work ethic and his work in the ring. Well, yeah, I said all that, but I'm not going to get all mushy and act like I'm in love with the guy. He's a pretty good hand in the ring. He does a pretty good promo, and that's the end of that. And that's all I got to say about that. Now move on to the next damn question. Stone Cold, how often do you watch the current product, or do you watch it at all? Yeah, I try to watch it whenever I get a chance. Most of the time I'm not at home. Most of the time I don't watch a whole lot of show on TV. Do you watch it? Well, I've been actually trying to watch it, and I'm actually thinking about coming up with another show. And not to cut off your question time, Stone Cold, but check it out. If you guys would like for me to do a show based on wrestling where I break down what happens on Monday Night Raw, Friday Night SmackDown, and the TNA Impact Zone, you can send your comments, yes or no, or you would be interested, to questions@steveaustinshow.com. Wait a minute. You're going to break down what's going on WWE, Monday Night Raw, SmackDown, and TNA. Well, yeah, I was thinking about it because, you know, I enjoy talking about the wrestling business, so you don't think that that'd be a pretty good idea? You don't really want to know what I think, do you? How would you like me to grab that guitar and wrap that motherfucker around your head? Man, I'm just talking about doing a damn show. I wasn't even talking to you. I'm talking to my listeners. Can you see that I'm not addressing you? I'm looking at the microphone from which I'm talking to. So I'm going to, you know what? You have kind of meddled me for about the last time, motherfucker. You're only about 3 foot away. Don't think that I won't reach over there and slap the fuck out of you. Oh, you going to slap the fuck out of me? You going to draw back a bloody stump? You better ask Stone Cold another question before I fucking get mad and start commencing to whooping that ass. All right, relax, Stone Cold, relax. I ain't backing down from you, but you wanted to finish up with a couple questions. Here we go. Well, here's a question actually for me. Dear Steve, what went wrong in your match against Mr. Fly? Well, I thought I had Mr. Fly exactly where I wanted him. Superfly Jimmy Snuka come out of the back. I didn't even know Snuka was in the building. I had the Fly exactly where I wanted him. Wait a minute. You got your ass whipped by a fly? How much does a goddamn fly weigh? 2.5 grams, 5 grams? You got your ass whipped by a fly? Well, no. I mean, I was wrestling the Fly, and I was working his wing. I thought I picked the right body part because if I worked his wing, it'd take away some of his mobility. And then I had him right where I wanted. And then the referee took a bump. He couldn't see anything. Superfly Jimmy Snuka came in from the back of the dressing room. I didn't even know he was in town. I didn't know he was in the building. He hit me in the head with a coconut, knocked my ass out. Referee came to, And then Mr. Fly pinned me 1, 2, 3. You got beat by a fly. Is there going to be a rematch with said fly? Yeah, I'm trying to set the rematch right now. I've been calling the promoters, having a hard time tracking down Mr. Fly. I would like to, seek revenge. I'd like to avenge my loss. I'd like to redeem myself as a man, a person, as a professional wrestler. But then again, I wasn't counting on the Superfly coming into the ring and hit me in the head with a coconut. You didn't know that Superfly Jimmy Snuka likes to hit people in the head with coconuts? Well, yeah, I knew that, but I didn't know he's going to be in the ring. Well, you got to expect anything. Don't you understand? DTA, brother. Don't trust anybody. Well, all right, Stone Cold, all right. Understood. I'm going to go for the rematch against Mr. Fly. Maybe you would be interested in taking on Mr. Fly. Well, if he beats you again, maybe I will. Don't be such a puss. Open up a can on that stupid Fly. Well, that's what I'll do, Stone Cold, and I'm going to do it because you said so. Well, let's finish up here. Let's do 1 or 2 more questions. Stone Cold, here's the question. Can Stone Cold Steve Austin exist in the WWE under the PG-13 rules that now exist? Could Stone Cold Steve Austin exist in today's scenario? Well, that's a good-ass question because I don't really know. Right now, I don't feel like wearing any filters. Right now, I like saying whatever the hell I want to say. Right now, I could go out and cut a promo and not say one single cuss word, but the system these days is a little soft for Stone Cold. Could I go back? Yeah. Do I want to go back? I don't know. You ain't going to hand Stone Cold Steve Austin a piece of paper and say, hey, Stone Cold, say this. Hey, Stone Cold, say that. Hey, Stone Cold, how about this? So it doesn't sound like you're really intrigued with some of the elements that are going on today. Well, let me tell you something this way. Let me put it like this. Stone Cold Steve Austin don't walk on eggshells. Stone Cold Steve Austin walks in the door, does what he wants when he wants. Then, if I got the right offer, would I consider it? I don't know. It is what it is. It's a different system. They've got a good thing going on. I'm looking forward to what they got going on in the future. I'm looking forward to seeing what you got to say if you start doing your wrestling podcast. Well, damn sure going to get that.
Thank you for joining us for another classic episode of The Steve Austin Show. Please leave a rating and review on Apple Podcasts and tell your friends. For more Steve Austin Show, go to PodcastOne.com. That's PodcastOne.com.
Pluto TV has thousands of free movies and TV shows.
You swear?
If I'm lying, I'm dying.
This is the mindset.
Free.
This is the mantra.
Free.
This is the mindset.
With movies like Titanic, Dreamgirls, and Gladiator.
Are you not entertained?
And TV shows like Survivor, SpongeBob SquarePants, The Fairly Odd Parents, and Ghosts. Pluto TV is always free. Huzzah! Pluto TV. Stream now, pay never.